walk into a room. People glance at you, then look away. You speak, but no one really listens. You try to connect, but something's off. You can feel it. The respect isn't there. And the worst part? You have no idea what you're doing wrong. Here's the truth most people never face. Losing respect isn't a dramatic event. It's not one big mistake that destroys your reputation overnight. It's the small things, the daily habits, the tiny choices you think don't matter. But they do. They stack up, one by one, until suddenly, nobody takes you seriously anymore. And the most dangerous part? You're probably doing it right now, without knowing it, without seeing how people's perception of you shifts with every word, every action, every decision. Machiavelli understood something brutal about human nature. He wrote that men judge more by their eyes than by their hands. What he meant was this: people don't respect what you actually are. They respect what they see, what they perceive. And if you're broadcasting weakness through your daily behavior, perception becomes reality. So let me show you the fastest ways people destroy their own respect. Not through obvious failures, through invisible patterns that bleed authority every single day. And once you see these patterns, you'll notice them everywhere, in yourself, in others, in the people who wonder why nobody listens to them. Pattern 1. Explaining yourself to everyone. Here's something most people get backwards. They think transparency builds trust. They think if they just explain their reasoning, their decisions, their choices, people will understand and respect them. But that's not how power works. Every time you over-explain yourself, you hand someone a piece of your authority. You're basically saying, I need your approval for my decision to be valid. And the moment you do that, the respect drops. Think about the most respected people you know. Do they justify every choice? Do they defend every boundary? Do they explain why they said no? Of course not. They state, they decide, they move forward. And people respect that certainty. But most people can't handle silence. Someone questions their decision, and immediately they're launching into a detailed explanation. Someone challenges their boundary, and they're listing reasons why it exists. Someone disagrees with them, and they're desperately trying to prove their point. That desperation, people smell it. And when they smell it, respect dies. Here's what happens psychologically. When you explain too much, you signal that you're not confident in your position. You're seeking validation. You need them to agree before you can feel secure. And humans instinctively lose respect for people who need their approval. Watch how this plays out in daily life. Someone asks why you can't help them this weekend. Most people launch into their schedule, their commitments, apologizing, explaining, justifying. But all that does is open negotiation. Because if your reason isn't good enough in their eyes, they'll push harder. The person who simply says, I'm not available and stops talking, that person keeps their respect intact. No negotiation, no justification, just a boundary stated clearly. This doesn't mean being rude. It means understanding that your decisions don't require a defense. When you stop explaining yourself to people who haven't earned that access, something shifts. They stop questioning, they start accepting because you're not giving them anything to argue against. Most people never learn this. They think being liked means being understood, so they overshare, they over-explain, they turn every decision into a group discussion. And slowly, quietly, their authority evaporates. Pattern 2. Apologizing for things that aren't your fault. Watch someone for a day. Count how many times they say sorry. Not for actual mistakes, for existing, for speaking, for taking up space. Sorry for interrupting, sorry for asking, sorry for needing something, sorry for having an opinion, sorry for breathing the wrong way in someone's presence. This is social suicide, and most people do it automatically. Okay, here's the psychology. Apologizing when you've done nothing wrong trains people to see you as less than. You're positioning yourself beneath them. You're accepting blame that isn't yours. And humans are brutal about hierarchy. Once they sense you'll accept responsibility for things that aren't your fault, they'll keep putting you there. Real apologies have power. When you actually mess up, owning it shows strength. But constant apologizing, that shows fear. Fear of conflict, fear of judgment, fear of being seen as difficult or demanding or wrong. And people don't respect fear. Think about someone you really respect. Notice how rarely they apologize unnecessarily. They don't say sorry for having needs. They don't apologize for disagreeing. They don't shrink themselves to make others comfortable. They exist with conviction, and that conviction commands respect naturally. But most people were trained to apologize, especially if you were taught to be nice, to be accommodating, to never make waves. Those lessons feel good. They make you feel like a good person, but they also make you invisible. Because here's what happens. When you apologize for everything, people stop noticing when you apologize for real things. Your words lose meaning, your boundaries become suggestions, your presence becomes optional. I'm not saying be aggressive. I'm not saying never apologize. I'm saying stop giving your power away for free. Stop accepting blame that isn't yours. Stop shrinking so others can feel bigger. When you stop apologizing unnecessarily, something interesting happens. People treat you differently. They listen more carefully. They respect your space more. They stop assuming they can push you around because you're not sending the signal that you're pushable anymore. Pattern 3. Reacting to everything. Emotional reactions are information leaks. Every time you react visibly to something, you tell people exactly how to control you. And once people know your triggers, respect becomes impossible. Most people are emotional fireworks. Someone says something slightly critical, and they explode. Someone ignores them, and they spiral. Someone disagrees, and they take it personally. They wear every feeling on their face, broadcast every hurt, announce every offense, and people watch. They learn. They store that information, and whether consciously or not, they use it. Here's the pattern. Someone tests you. Maybe they make a subtle dig. Maybe they question your decision. Maybe they ignore you in a group setting. Your reaction tells them everything. If you get defensive, they know you're insecure about that thing. If you get angry, they know they got to you. If you chase their approval, they know you need it. And once they know any of that, the respect is gone. The person who stays calm, the person who doesn't react visibly to provocation, that person keeps their power because unpredictability is strength. When people can't read your reactions, they become cautious around you. They don't know what will affect you and what won't, so they treat you with more care. This isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about controlling what you broadcast. Feel everything internally, process it, but externally, stay composed, stay strategic, stay in control of your face, your tone, your energy. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by fear or love, but if you must choose, it's safer to be feared. He wasn't talking about terror. He was talking about respect that comes from being unreadable, from being someone others can't easily manipulate through emotional triggers. Most people never develop this. They react to every comment, they defend against every perceived slight. They explain themselves when no one asked. They show all their cards all the time. And then they wonder why people don't take them seriously. Here's the shift. Start viewing reactions as choices, not reflexes. When something bothers you, pause. Ask yourself if responding serves you. Most of the time, it doesn't. Most of the time, silence or a simple interesting is more powerful than any defense you could mount. Because people respect what they can easily affect. And if you're constantly reacting, you're constantly affected. Pattern 4. Seeking validation from the wrong people. You know that feeling when you accomplish something and your first thought is, I need to tell so-and-so? That urge to share your wins with specific people? That's where respect often dies. Because if those people don't genuinely care about your growth, you're not sharing, you're begging. You're seeking approval from sources that will never give it genuinely. And every time you do, you leak power. Here's what most people don't see. Not everyone wants you to win. Some people are neutral. Some are actively threatened by your success. And when you bring your victories to them seeking validation, you hand them ammunition. They might smile, they might say congratulations, but watch their energy, listen to the tone. Notice if they change the subject quickly. Notice if they immediately one-up you or minimize what you did. That's not support. That's tolerance at best, sabotage at worst. And when you keep going back to those people for validation, you train yourself to need their approval. Worse, you train them to withhold it, because they've learned that withholding keeps you coming back. The pattern looks like this. You achieve something. You tell them hoping for acknowledgement. They respond lukewarm. You feel a drop in excitement. But instead of noting that they're not your people, you try harder next time. Bigger achievement. More impressive news, hoping this time they'll react the way you want. But they never do. Because the problem isn't the size of your achievement, it's that you're asking the wrong people. Respect dies here because you're positioning them as the judges of your worth. You're giving them authority over your self-perception. And once someone has that authority, they can never respect you equally. You've placed yourself below them by making their opinion matter more than your own. Here's the fix. Stop performing for an audience that doesn't clap. Find the few people who genuinely celebrate you and share with them. For everyone else, let your results speak. Let them notice on their own. Let them wonder why you stop seeking their approval. When you stop chasing validation, something powerful happens. The people who matter start noticing your confidence. The people who don't matter stop having influence over your mood, and you start building respect from internal standards, not external approval. Pattern 5. Being available all the time. This one's subtle but deadly. Being helpful, being there, being the person everyone can count on. Sounds good, right? Sounds like how you build respect in relationships, except it doesn't work that way. When you're available all the time, you become a convenience, not a priority. People stop valuing your time because you've signaled it doesn't have value. You'll drop everything. You'll always say yes. You'll always make space. So why would they respect boundaries you clearly don't have? Here's the psychological trap. You think availability proves your value. If you're always there, people will see how much you care. They'll appreciate you, they'll reciprocate, but that's not how human nature works. People respect scarcity, they respect boundaries, they respect people who have other priorities and protect them. When someone says, I can't, I have something else, that person becomes more interesting, not less, because they've demonstrated that their time is finite, that access to them is earned, not automatic. But most people are terrified of this. They think saying no means being selfish. They think protecting their time means being a bad friend, a bad partner, a bad employee. So they say yes to everything. They stretch themselves thin, they become exhausted and resentful. And through all of that, they lose respect. Because here's what availability really signals. You don't have anything better to do. Your time isn't in demand. You don't value yourself enough to protect your energy. And if you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? The shift is simple, but uncomfortable. Start saying no, not rudely, not with long explanations, just no, I'm not available. I have other commitments. I need that time for myself. Watch what happens. Some people will be upset. Those are the people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. Let them be upset, but others will start respecting your time more. They'll plan ahead. They'll value the time they do get with you. They'll stop treating you like a convenience. And most importantly, you'll respect yourself more. Because every time you protect your time, you reinforce that your life has value beyond being useful to others. There's one more pattern that destroys respect faster than anything else, and most people don't even realize they're doing it. It's this: allowing disrespect without consequence. Someone crosses a line. Maybe they interrupt you constantly. Maybe they dismiss your opinions. Maybe they make you the butt of jokes. Maybe they ignore your boundaries, and you do nothing. You laugh it off. You let it slide. You convince yourself it's not a big deal. But it is a big deal. Because every time you allow disrespect, you train people that disrespecting you is acceptable. You teach them that your boundaries are suggestions. You show them that you won't defend your own worth, and once that lesson is learned, respect is nearly impossible to rebuild. Here's the brutal truth. People treat you how you teach them to treat you. If someone crosses a line and you don't address it, you've set a new line further back. If someone disrespects you and you laugh along, you've agreed that disrespect is okay. This doesn't mean becoming aggressive. It doesn't mean confronting everyone over everything. It means having one simple rule: disrespect gets a consequence. Maybe that consequence is distance. Maybe it's a calm but firm boundary. Maybe it's simply removing that person from your life, but it can't be nothing, because nothing communicates acceptance. Most people avoid this because confrontation is uncomfortable. They'd rather keep the peace than defend their worth. They'd rather be liked than be respected. So they tolerate behavior they hate from people who don't deserve access to them, and respect dies slowly. Every joke at your expense, every ignored boundary, every dismissive comment, each one takes a piece until you wake up one day and realize nobody takes you seriously anymore, and you have no idea when it happened. But you know when it happened. It happened the first time you let it slide. So here's where this leaves you, armed with awareness you didn't have before. You can now see the patterns that destroy respect. In yourself, in others, in every interaction. The question is, what do you do with this information? Most people will watch this, nod along, maybe feel called out, and then change nothing. They'll keep explaining themselves, keep apologizing unnecessarily, keep reacting emotionally, keep seeking validation from people who don't care. Keep being available to everyone except themselves. Keep allowing disrespect because confrontation is scary and their lives will stay exactly the same. But some of you will feel something shift. You'll catch yourself about to over-explain and you'll stop. You'll feel the urge to apologize for existing and you'll resist. You'll notice someone testing your boundaries and you'll enforce them. Those small changes compound. They build into something people can feel but can't name. Presence, authority, respect. Not because you demanded it, not because you performed it, but because you stopped broadcasting weakness. You stopped giving your power away for free. You stopped accepting behavior beneath what you deserve. Respect isn't given. It's not earned through niceness or hard work or being good. Respect is taken. It's claimed through small, consistent choices that signal, I value myself, my time matters, my boundaries exist, my word stands. And when you live like that, the world treats you differently. Not everyone will like it. The people who benefited from your doormat tendencies will complain. Let them. They were never your people anyway. But the people who matter, they'll notice. They'll respect it. They'll show up differently for you. Because you're showing up differently for yourself. So here's your choice. Keep doing what you've always done. Keep losing respect in ways you don't see. Keep wondering why people don't take you seriously, or start today. Catch yourself in these patterns and break them, one by one, without announcement, without explanation, just change. Because the fastest way to lose respect is to keep giving yourself away. But the fastest way to gain it, stop. The question isn't whether people will respect you. The question is whether you respect yourself enough to demand it.